Hi there, welcome to Newsfeed. I'm Kim Vanell, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and the stuff they're sharing around the world. On the show today, forget GDP, tax breaks and global economic domination. New Zealand unveils a world-first budget of well-being. Workers walk out at the Louvre, saying there's just too many people. We'll take a look at how over-touristing is affecting cities around the world. Netflix throws its weight behind protesters demanding Georgia overturn its new abortion law. And the world's smallest baby to ever survive finally gets to go home. Under the leadership of Jacinda Ardern, New Zealand is garnering quite the reputation. Once known mainly for their easygoing attitudes, Kiwis are becoming more and more renowned for their compassion, as evidenced by the overwhelming response after the Christchurch terror attack earlier this year. Now the government is looking to go even further, in a way institutionalising that compassion, unveiling what appears to be the world's first well-being budget. So this is the plan for how the government's cash will be allocated over the next 4 years. And the focus, rather than tax cuts or boosting the economy, is the welfare of the country, mentally, physically and environmentally, as well, of course, as economically. In practice, that means a whole heap of money for the mental health sector, for combating domestic violence and for child welfare.
This is usually the point in the Minister of Finance's budget speech where they discuss the economic and fiscal outlook. But in applying a well-being approach to this budget, we have not only examined the performance of our economy and finances, but also the welfare of our people, the health of our environment and the strength of our communities.
Well, to chat all about it, we have Anna Bracewell-Worrell, a Kiwi journo based in Wellington. So first off, Anna, why is the New Zealand government going down this really quite unusual path?
New Zealand's really had this sort of long-term problem with domestic violence where every year too many children, too many women are killed in incidents of domestic violence. And this government, when it was campaigning, was saying we are going to work to solve this. The issue of mental health became a really major one in New Zealand after quite a strong campaign ahead of the 2017 election, in which the relatives of people that had committed suicide in New Zealand travelled the country and collected the shoes of those people that had died by suicide. And they brought those shoes to Parliament and they laid them out on the Parliament front lawn, which was a really powerful visual image. And today they said how much they would be spending. And it's a significant sum. I think it's probably the most successful part of the budget really is the mental health aspect. They have put the money there, and mental health advocates on the whole are pretty happy. You know, they're always going to say there should be a little bit more here, but I think on the whole pretty happy with the package that the government's come up with for mental health.
So I guess the next question has to be then, how is this going to go down, or how is this going down with the public?
As you would expect, it's pretty mixed. So there are people who are really stoked about some aspects of it. For example, the government spoken about scrapping school donations and instead giving schools a payment on behalf of each student. A lot of parents are very happy to hear that. But teachers, on the other hand, they're in a pay dispute with the government at the moment. There wasn't any bump in their salaries today, so that will drag on. Teachers will continue to be disgruntled. But also, this government has this budget has been a little bit of a sideshow because parts of it were actually made available accidentally online by the Treasury, which is essentially the government department that's sole job is to deliver the budget. That took the wind out of a lot of Treasury sales today, and the finance minister's sales, it really soured it for the government.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, as we all know, Jacinda Ardern is building quite the reputation worldwide. Do you think this budget is sort of building into that reputation?
I would say so. They've worked quite hard on the symbolism around this budget and its actual delivery. For example, this was the first ever budget with pictures. The finance minister called it that, and it had the image of a woman on the cover who was holding her child. Ironically, though, that woman has now move to Australia because the cost of living is too high in New Zealand. Still some challenges for the government to face there. As far as that wellbeing package goes, I think it's really, in the end, a waiting game. We'll have to just wait and see over many years, perhaps decades, as to whether this actually makes a difference in the way that money is allocated by government departments.
Let's take a look now at some other stories that caught our eye on social media. Everyone is Everest obsessed, and we're seeing what it's really like at the top of the mountain at the moment. This is new video showing again huge human traffic jams with climbers battling as they try to reach the summit. It's horror season. At least 11 climbers have died in just 2 weeks. Now take a look at this lady in the yellow and see what's in her hand. It's a gun. The reason she pulled it, because a couple and their dog stopped by for a picnic at a campground in Mississippi. This is the couple here. Basically, they'd stopped at the campground and were told by the manager that they needed a reservation, which, by the way, is not the truth. She told them to shoo. It's actually what she said, and then she pulled the gun. The video they posted has been shared more than 1 million times and is aptly captioned, "Racism is alive and well." As long as you're not in a hurry, it's no big deal to avoid an Uber driver with a bad rating, right? Well, Uber is turning the tables, or should we say the wheel, on us. Riders with low ratings could soon be banned from using the ride-hailing app altogether. But if you've been caught on a bad day, never fear. Riders will have several chances to improve their ratings before they're cut loose. The lesson: be kind all the time. Oh, what's the worst thing about being a tourist? Other tourists. A growing appetite for travel is causing major problems around the world and even closing down those big bucket list items.
We can't do our job properly under good conditions. More importantly, visitors who are at the heart of our job can't tour the museum and access works of art under good conditions.
We had planned our entire trip around coming to the Louvre because we are huge art lovers. Georgia's controversial abortion ban, which is set to come into effect in January, is being fought on many fronts. There are rallies, petitions, and social media campaigns, and they're all in full swing. But like it or not, money often speaks louder than words. Let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Thursday. First up, in the Philippines, if you want an education, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. A new environmental law that's just passed the lower house requires all students from primary, high school and university to plant at least 10 trees before they can graduate each stage. The government says it will mean that at least 175 million new trees are planted every year. What a cool idea. Hillary Clinton has taken aim at Facebook for its refusal to take down a doctored video of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The video slowed down Pelosi's speech and slurred her words to make it look like she's drunk. Here's what Clinton had to say about it.
So let's send a message to Facebook that those who are in Facebook's communities would really like Facebook to pay attention to false and doctored videos before we are flooded with them over the next months.
Cuba will allow private Wi-Fi in the country for the first time. People have only been able to log onto government routers by buying time with scratch cards for about $7 an hour. Now they'll be able to buy their own equipment to get online. Now imagine a baby the size of this, a tiny, teeny-weeny little apple. Well, a baby born just this size has finally gotten to go home. Sadie, that's the nickname the hospital staff gave her, was born 3 months premature and is the world's smallest baby to ever survive. Adama has the story.
She's only a few months old, but Sadie has already broken a world record. Doctors in California say she's the smallest baby ever to survive. She weighed a mere 245 grams at birth last December.
It was the scariest day of my life. I just felt very uncomfortable, and I thought maybe this is part of the pregnancy. They told me that I had preeclampsia. My blood pressure was very, very high, over 200. And they had to deliver her really quick. And I kept telling them, but she's not gonna survive. I'm only 23 weeks.
And doctors agreed.
They told my husband that he had about an hour with her and that she was gonna pass away. But that hour turned into 2 hours, which turned into a day, which turned into a week.
So we do everything we know how to do as well as we can, and after that it's really up to our babies. So some really have the strength to go through what they have to go through and grow outside the womb.
While Sadie was in intensive care, a special relationship developed between the staff and her family.
We had so many nurses, but her primary nurses were they became friends. I don't want to cry. Look at all those signs, they made it. You know, I would come in and then it's like, happy birthday, Mom. It's just, I'm so grateful for them.
Sadie was discharged this month, weighing nearly 2.7 kilos. And her family have hope their little bundle of joy won't stay little for long.
Sadie. Now, Shaolin monks are a group of Buddhists in China and are known as the Kung Fu Masters. And now video has been captured of just how they get there. They start them young. This little dude shows off his flexibility, balance, roly-poliness and general tough guy skills to a captive audience in China. Ow! Well, that's it from the Newsfeed team. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow.